Meow everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat, here to show you the monthly chart of Mara so far. I'm going to put up some of the indicators here. One of my favorites is the Ichimoku Cloud analysis. With the Ichimoku Cloud, you're going to get two lines here. One is the red line, which is the Tenkan. The other one is the blue line, which is a Kijun. Right now, price is a little bit on top of the, or is testing the monthly Tenkan, which is at 20.63. It's just kind of slip a little bit below that, but right now that's kind of where price is at right now, is right at the monthly Tenkan line, and these Tenkan and Kijun can also serve as support or resistance. Right now price is just dipping a little bit below of the monthly Tenkan, and the Kijun has already had a bullish cross underneath, so that's also going to serve as potential support right around 18.6. And 18.6 also going to be a level right around here at this volume shelf. Maybe a little bit higher. Right now volume shelf is like 19.2 right down here. 18.6 also potentially going to be a pretty decent support level. And right now price kind of broken about, below a little bit over here around like 21 or so. So these are going to be a risk level. It could potentially bounce back above 21 because of the strong volume shelf right here. Could potentially go back down to around 19.2 or so, or 18.6 right here at the monthly Kijun. It could also potentially go down, and I think this is going to be a pretty decent support here around 17.5 if it ends up doing that. It already found support here twice. The key is those are your downside risks I'm showing you. Can it go lower? Sure, but you have plenty of support here before it goes down even further, right? If it does, we'll talk about it more. But I'm also eyeing the upsides here. It already spent months number 1, 2, 3, and 4 trying to break above this volume shelf level right here. And the more this resistance is trying to be tested, the weaker it's going to go. So it does have a little bit of like an ascending triangle here. So I think the trend is bullish, and it has been making sort of like a higher high and a higher low. And now this is kind of like a higher high here. Even within this trend, I think it's trying to make a higher high with this wick right here, and right now it might be starting the process of trying to find a higher low. So overall, the trend is very, very bullish, and I think the resistance eventually is going to get broken, especially after 4 months of really, really hard trying. You just have to be aware of what the potential downsides are, so you're mentally prepared. Again, 21, which is 20.6, 18.6 here, 19. And 17.5. Those are going to be some pretty strong support underneath to be paying attention to. Now, I'm eyeing the Ichimoku Cloud up here. The bottom of the cloud is going to be in the low 40s. There's also a little bit of volume shelf up here too, which is going to be really the high 40s or 50. I think these are the higher levels here. Like that's why I'm not really selling out my position. Even when it goes down here, there's plenty of support. I'm really eyeing the higher levels here because it's a bull trend. So I'm not going to try to do anything cute here. But this is what I'm seeing here with Mara on the monthly chart. It does tell you a lot of information here. If you also want to go ahead and look at the Fibonacci levels here, try and get an idea of what price is doing. It tells you that it got rejected at the 0.382 levels. It's kind of going down and trying to back test this 0.236 is already going below it a little bit here, but there's potential that 22.3 is also going to be a pretty decent support level once price is able to test whatever it needs to test down here and get back up here. There's a potential that this could also be a pretty decent support level, which is going to be coinciding with this volume shove right here around 22.5. That's the Ichimoku Cloud. And now if I'm going to show you the Bollinger Band to kind of give you an idea how crazy it is. The price really hasn't gone crazy. 20-month moving average is pointing up, but you really don't have price kind of way outside upper Bollinger Band. So I think it's doing its necessary corrections, but it's not going like parabolic or anything crazy that's unreasonable. So to me, this is actually like healthier price action than CleanSpark. I'm actually a little bit more worried about CleanSpark having a bigger correction than Mara. But again, CleanSpark's chart also is a little bit more parabolic. So right now, CleanSpark, if things go irrational, if things go really irrational, CleanSpark going to have a lot higher upsides because of that. Because the Bollinger Band for CleanSpark is really, really expanding like crazy. As opposed to Mara, it does have like a little bit of like a muted kind of thing. It's expanding, but it's not expanding as parabolic as CleanSpark is doing, which it's fine. It's still a bull trend, higher high, higher low, and higher high. So this is still a pretty decent bull trend here. I would not bet against it. I would try not to do anything too cute here. Now, that's for the monthly chart. You look at the weekly chart here right off the bat. You see that there's a little bit of a double top formation here, and I can potentially see people kind of calling this, double top here. If you're talking about a double top here, if it breaks below the neckline right around here, and people are going to call for a gap fill down here too. If it breaks below 15 or so, then there's a lot further downside. It can potentially go back down to like 11. But again, why do I think that this is not necessarily going to be the case? If you look at the weekly averages, they're stacking on top of one another. 20 is above 50, 50 is above 100. You have plenty of these, positively sloping moving averages on a weekly to serve as potential support. So I really think that the downside right down here could potentially be limited. In addition to that, there's also a lot of these volume shelves right here, that could potentially serve as support here. 19 seems to be a pretty decent level, both in terms of volume shelf and both in terms of the 20-week moving average. If you put the bull market support band, which is a combination of the 20-week simple moving average and 21-week exponential moving average, you pull up that right here, you can see there's also a lot of support down here. It served as support last time. There's potential for the service support here this time too, and the price could hit around 19 or even wick down a little bit below that to the bottom of this volume shelf here around 17 or 16.2. But I do think that there's a lot of support here that's being stacked on top of one another, that Mara's downside could potentially be limited. Now, what is the potential upside, right? We just talked about a volume shelf here. We just talked about how it spent 4 months trying to break above it. Once it's being broken about, again, the volume shelf here, even on a weekly, you can see that the 20-week moving average would potentially just keep on pushing price up through this volume shelf right up here. And as I showed you previously on the monthly Ichimoku Cloud, you're really talking about like the low 40s. And after that, you're really talking about the high 40s to 50. So I'm seeing more upside than I see potential downside here, and that's why I'm staying in. I'm not doing anything cute. Could it go down and drop down further? Sure, but there's no guarantee, and I don't want to be too cute about it because of that, especially when the weekly moving averages are kind of pointing nicely up like this. Now, if I just pull up the Ichimoku Cloud here, look and see what's happening, you can see that the price, these Tenkan and Kijun lines may mean something. Kijun right now is 20.6, and that's kind of where price is kind of hovering around, and there's a potential where this is going to be a good support level right here, and price could go up, and these can serve as resistance and support levels too with these Kijun and Tenkan line. Price is way above the cloud. Could it potentially go back test the cloud? Anything is possible. I'm not going to count on it because it's a bull trend. It's just made a higher high, and right now it's trying to find a higher low compared to before. So I'm not going to bet against Mara here based on this bull trend that it has on the monthly as well as on the weekly. Now, that's pretty much all I have to show you here for Mara. Thank you for listening. And one more thing that I do want to show you is that there is a little bit of a reduced kind of inflow here, but weekly is going to be more sensitive to noise as opposed to monthly. The monthly, there's still a pretty significant inflow despite the fact that the price kind of going sideways. This is the Black Cat L3 Banker Fund flow. It seems like there's still a significant inflow here. And matter of fact, if you compare this to last cycle, I think we might be somewhere around here where we're just kind of consolidating. Maybe we're waiting for IWM to really truly kick in before it really just goes pretty nuts over here. Is setting up for something like that. We'll see what happens. So far, there's increase in large institutions fund flow based on this, and also based on the Fintel data. I'm optimistic. I think there's probably more upsides than downsides here, but you do what's best for you, and that's it. And thank you so much for listening. Take care. Bye.